Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you an achievement guide to unlock all 1000 Gamerscore in the game 50 Years. This game was developed by Alexandre Golovkin and published by Zydelon, and releases on November 11th, 2020. To knock out the full 1000, you're probably looking at about 30 total minutes, so boot up the game and select the very easy game mode. We're then going to basically select your pseudo faction, and you're going to want to select the French. Now, immediately once you get into the game, peasants are how you gain gold to then buy things further in the game. So go ahead and buy 2 peasants and then progress the year. And then as soon as you can, the first couple of years it doesn't make you go into a combat or fight or anything, buy a swordsman. And then end of the year, and then we're just going to keep building up our peasants because this is what will pseudo increase our gold intake. And then we're going to start getting into these fights. Now you're going to get special abilities like call on militiamen, and then, little things later in the game. Don't use any of those. Just trigger a fight. We just want to trigger the fights and get through the combat. You'll have to do this 50 times, hence the 50 full years. So I'm just going to show you what to work on. So as soon as you get into year 6, buy the... Oh, sorry, we need more food. So we're going to go to construct a building, and we're going to build a chicken farm. Once you've built the chicken farm, we're also going to buy 1 more peasant because this will increase our income every year. And we'll go into another fight. This will be kind of the pseudo closest fight we get when our guys are outnumbered, but you're going to start off fighting relatively weak enemies that you're going to encounter. But we want to ultimately get to a position where we're going to have a pseudo chicken army. I know that kind of sounds a little funny, but that chicken devil's altar that you discover on going into year 8 is the thing we really want to get to. So go in here and into scouting, click on the chicken devil altar, and then hit deal killing. So what this is going to do is it's randomly going to kill 1 enemy that you encounter every fight you go into. And then we're just going to continue pumping up our peasants as much as we can. And then we'll also buy another swordsman to help give us a little bit of a muscle. And we're not really going to worry about building any more swordsmen. We're going to now focus on our peasants, and your goal is to basically try to keep everything stocked up for the most part as best as you can, but we also want to make sure we build up enough money and have enough of the farms that we need. So you'll get into a couple of the fights where, because the game's automatically going to kill 1 guy off the bat, you don't have to worry about that, so it's kind of nice. So we'll come back in here, build another chicken farm, and then we can build our 4th swordsman, and then we're just going to kind of let the game progress here for just a few years. And then we're going to get a couple more peasants to increase our income. And then we'll grab 1 more peasant here. And then I'm going to show you what you want to sort of focus on. So now that we have our 4 swordsmen, we're going to go into scouting. You should have this poacher's camp. You'll just fight 3 archers. These are great ways for you to earn some extra money and economy style stuff in the game to help you progress and level up faster. So take these out as you can, but make sure you're equipped enough. The goal is to not lose any of our units for as long as we can in the game. So now that we have our food meter 13 or 14, we can build that 10th peasant. And then we're going to go in here, and what we really want to start to focus on is we need to gain faith. And then the next building we're going to want to construct is going to be a lumber mill, which we can go ahead and construct that. So you should be on year 15, and this should be the buildings that you have unlocked. We'll start progressing a couple duplicates of these, but we're going to get a lumber mill, which is going to allow us to relocate the peasants to then build a stable next turn and give us knights. Knights are going to be the kind of first beefy unit we start to get into. So we'll let the game go here for the next few years as you see us progress. And then the tiered tree for the belief that we want to go is you want to do Pantheon of the Fat Chickens. Now, as far as knocking it out, there's an achievement for picking up each one of these pantheons, so 500 gamer score in total, and then just progressing to year 50. That's all you have to do. So you'll do a couple playthroughs. In one playthrough, you can knock out 2 of these pantheons. You just have to buy the initial wave, but for the sake of getting to year 50 easiest, we're going to buy this, because this is going to grant 2 of our units additional life, but also allow us to get zombie chickens later in the game. So we'll construct that building, and then let's go ahead and construct our stable. This should now allow us to build knights, and then we're going to hire knights as we can. These are going to give us just a little more beefier units. As you can see, they're the guys right here with like the bigger pseudo, I'm going to call them Final Fantasy swords, you want to call them. And the goal is basically we're going to get as many units as we can going into these years and fights to help progress us as far as we can. So we'll just idle through the next couple fights and try to progress and make a little money in the bank. And now that we have 1,800 bucks, we'll buy another guy. Let's go take a look at scouting. We shouldn't have any camps up next, but we will have a little soon. Cool little tip, if you're navigating the menu, the cursor will wrap around the screen, so it is kind of handy. So we're going to go ahead and up our chicken farm. This is going to give us more food capacity. It's going to help us a little later in the game while we have the extra money just sitting. And then now what we're going to do is run these additional chickens and just keep progressing up in our pantheon. And now we can also get more peasants, which is going to be super helpful. More peasants, the more money we make every turn, which in turn will help us continue to grow even further. And also, if you're pseudo wondering why we selected the French guys will actually retreat when they're injured and close to death in combat. And we want to do that because we don't want to have guys die. So if you notice any of these little health bars start to get really low to the edge, watch one of them and you'll see the unit actually run away. We're kind of a little overpowered in these earlier years, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. Now the next buildings we're going to want to start to progress into is we're going to get the shooting range. This is going to now allow us to get archers, so we'll go ahead and hire up 3 archers. And then progress into year 24, and we'll go into year 25. And the archers will now be pseudo-ranged units, just about any other game that you've ever played. Pretty self-explanatory there. Now this is where the game starts to get a lot better. We're now going to get zombie chickens. The goal of getting these zombie chickens, the tier 3 pseudo guys, we're going to want to hire this and progress this number up as much as we can. You're going to gain faith every game, and this is going to put extra units on the field. So these little zombie chickens, so as we kill guys and progress into the next enemies, it's going to basically just put like meat and fodder in front of the guys and help us live a lot longer. So that's going to be really nice, and you'll start to see more and more zombie chickens come up. So now what we're going to do next is, let's see what looks like a good one. We want to get to this Minotaur Maze and Druid's Oak. So let's go ahead and buy this Druid's Oak. And this is going to let us start to hire druids. So we'll go into the next year. Now you're going to start to see these like turn into tigers, scroll of transformation. We're going to save these unlocks for the very last few levels in the game to basically make them cakewalks. Because we're going to shrink everybody, turn them into these tiny little guys, and not have to worry about anything. So we got our faith locked, so let's go see if we can't unlock anything. If you're still following along, you should have quite a bit of money. So we're going to go ahead and unlock the cowshed. And then we're also going to go here and unlock the Minotaur Maze, which is now going to allow us to build Minotaurs, those big, like, wielding guys that you just saw a moment ago. But now if you look, you're going to start to see all these zombie chickens. We're getting more and more of them, and that's what we want. We want these zombie chickens will be kind of our frontline force, and they're going to buy us a lot of time to let us know and like kind of hold off for future fights. So we want to try to get more of these Minotaurs and Druids. So we're going to build another Druid as soon as we can get those Druid Oaks, but we also want to stay on top of these other buildings as we can progress them. So let's see if there's anything. We can almost build a monastery, so we'll hold tight here and get a monastery going after the next fight. But as you can see, the zombie chickens just kind of help get in front and allow our archers and ranged units to just pick away at enemies, but also helps weaken them as we progress. So going into year 29, let's build this monastery, which now lets us build paladins, which basically you need knights that turn into paladins. So we'll switch these guys over slowly, and then we'll basically just be building knights that turn into other units, which kind of just help grow us, as well as our zombie army chickens are just starting to slowly grow and progress out of nowhere. So just keep following along in the guide, making sure you're upgrading as we do. We'll check. I don't think we have anything really we're going to upgrade too much anytime soon. We can do another shooting range if we want, and we can get some more archers. But aside from that, we're just going to kind of just pseudo save things and progress as we go. It's a little bit of a grind, but it's not too hard, and if you fail, don't get too frustrated. It's very easy just to restart. I do recommend, though, consistently playing as the French units. It's going to make the game just so much easier, because that retreat function with the zombie chickens is kind of helpful. It allows you just to kind of build a super pseudo strong force, and if you want to just keep going, you can really dive deep into the zombie chickens if you want. I feel like at this point you should be creating quite a bit of them. As you can see, it's just tons of units, and our ranged guys that we're starting to build more and more of are just piling in front of these guys. And we don't really care if the zombie chickens die, because we'll start making more and more of them as we kill more and more enemies in the game. So then we're going to progress the next tier in our belief. I think you get this every pseudo, like 10 or 15, like 10ish years, somewhere in there. So we'll tick up the next belief. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to the buildings, and we want to try to build another Druid's Oak. Not quite yet. The Druid's Oak is what's giving us those, that guy in the back that's shooting the, I guess you would call it, like, enchanted, like, thing. I don't know what to call it. So we'll just kind of start to save all of our wood, even though I'm sitting here contradicting myself and spending all of it. Yeah, these units in the top right here that shoot that green kind of super ranged attack. Those are super helpful. Pretty much the toughest enemy you're going to encounter are these Hydra looking guys. You'll probably lose a good bit of units when you first fight the Hydra guys. So now we're at year 36. We don't have too much longer to go. So we're going to go ahead and go fight this beast den, and then we're going to fight the other scouting zone. These are just going to help give us some extra abilities and give us some extra money in the bank. That way we're kind of pseudo saved up. So now we'll go to the Minotaur arena. These guys should be super quick to kill. And it's kind of comical watching all the chickens run around, to be honest. So we'll get more faith, which is awesome. It's a great currency that we need. We'll pack up one more paladin, one more knight, and then we're just kind of pseudo just knocking out the rest of the years until the game's done. Just keep progressing. This will be one of the first fights you encounter where there's actually more enemies on the screen. They're kind of under and continue to walk forward. So you might lose a good chunk of units here, but don't worry, we've already built up quite a bit of backlog when it comes to our currency, so we can continue to progress and knock all these guys out fairly easily. It's also kind of nice that this game has a pseudo-soothing soundtrack. I don't know, I kind of enjoy it. So the very last thing we're going to unlock is the chicken double. It allows us to have our chickens get a 50% chance to just come back. So we'll pump a little bit into this to have a chance to get some chickens to respawn, as well as we'll also grab one more archer, and then we'll look at our buildings. I don't know if there's anything really we need. We can start to train exorcists if we want. We can go ahead and unlock that in the cathedral, and then we'll just start creating them after the next turn. And what is nice, like, I did do one playthrough where the randomly killed enemy was one of the Hydras, which basically means you're gonna just stomp all over. It's kind of just luck if you're gonna get that one. So now that we have 600 faith, we'll unlock 2 exorcists. Oh, it's only gonna let us do 1. We'll stock back up. Always try to make sure you have plenty of units built up here, and constantly just trying to work and grow at them. So this is the Hydras. This is the first time you're going to encounter these. So expect in this fight to lose a lot of your units, because the Hydras are pretty tough. Having those ranged arched guys as well as the Exorcist will take a good work of them. If you haven't built the Exorcist, you will probably lose quite a bit. So keep that in mind. As you can see there, we did honestly kind of take care of them fairly easily. So we'll just keep progressing here. And then let's not, actually we can grab our other exorcists. Keep building knights. So as you can see, the knights kind of generate all the other units, so it's a pseudo progression in itself to keep building knights. So it looks like we do have the Hydra, so I would expect a lot of our chickens to die, but it looks like the exorcist is rolling right up there to kill him. Alright. Now, one thing we're going to do is check scouting. We're almost got these next 2 tier things unlocked. The way these kind of unlock is every year it progresses a dot closer. So we're going to get the 2 abilities after this year that we really need. So we'll go to scouting and we're going to hit the magical field. We'll target this sort of pseudo tree mushroom thing. This will kill a good bit of your units. When I did this the first time, I lost quite a bit, but having those ranged units definitely helps out. And then we're also going to do the shrinking shrine. This is going to come in handy in one of the last fights. It starts off shrinking all of our units. But once we do beat this unit, we're actually going to get this shrine to be able to shrink the enemies in one of our fights. So it does come in quite a handy. It's just one of the ones where you're probably going to take a lot of casualties. So we'll use all the money that we have to kind of restock us on everything. If you can, grab some more zombie chickens leading into these later years, as well as progressing everything that you can. It's just going to make the later game a little more easier. And then we'll fight this next wave. And let's go into the next year, year 48. Now we're going into the next year, we'll trigger these guys, and then we need to do 2 more years after this, and then you'll have the full 1000 achievement. Looking at the time tracker, we're doing this in under 20 minutes, so it's super easy completion. Like I said, not quite sure what the price of the game will be. We'll try to get a link in the description for you to pick it up. So this is also the point, once we've bought everything under this first Pantheon of the Chickens. If you're missing any of these other Pantheons, just click one. It doesn't really matter which one you click, it's not going to do anything. So we'll end the year. So now what we want to do is we have all these scrolls that we've been collecting. So for this one, we're actually going to use the Scroll of Transformation. It's going to turn all the enemy units into chickens, which we're then just going to walk over and destroy all of them. So keep in mind on year 49 to use the Scroll of Transformation, because there is a lot of units, and this will really help you out with completing this one. And then we'll use that Scroll of Shrinking on the very final year 50 wave, which will help take out the hydras that we're going to encounter. So let's go to the very last year. You should have that Scroll of Shrinking. Here's the other units, and we'll fight. And what's kind of funny is our chickens have gotten so much bigger than the other units. But yeah guys, if this guide helped you out, please let us know down in the comments. Give the video a like if you got the full 1000. If you have any questions about the game, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them in the comments. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really supports us and allows us to bring content like this to you guys. On that note, once this battle's complete, you should now have the full 1000 out of 1000. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you guys next time.